First one is that we have a couple of presenters that are a little bit different than who's in your program, so just follow us along and we'll get everything done tonight. The second one is far more important than that. Girls won the state soccer championship. And rumor has it that they are back on campus and that it is entirely possible that they will come into this assembly in full uniform, at which point we will stop whatever we're doing. Okay, so just be ready. If the girls' soccer team shows up, I think you will recognize them. They'll be the only ones with grass stains. And we'll give them a hand when they get here. So, presenters, just be ready. Welcome, welcome. It is a real pleasure to see you all here. Absolutely delighted to welcome the class of 2015 to Senior Honors Night and all of their parents, family, friends, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, everyone who is here with us. We have missed you all on campus for these last several days. We've missed you out on the front steps of Presley. We've missed you hanging around the foyer. We've missed you in the library. But your absence has gotten us ready for a much longer absence where we're only going to see you on holidays and summer breaks. We do expect to see you then. And in those long stretches, while you're gone, I expect that we might see your parents wandering around campus aimlessly, going from parking lot to sideline and maybe even a seat here in McCain. And I want all you seniors to be assured that we're going to take care of them. If we find them on campus, we'll console them, especially if they are facing the existential crisis of an empty nest. We promise to keep them busy if you promise to write. I think you already know that you owe them your infinite gratitude for supporting you to this point in your lives and your school careers. And so take an opportunity tonight, and don't wait until tomorrow, take the opportunity tonight to say thank you to your parents for all that they've done. Likewise, there's a cast of folks behind me who also are particularly important people in your lives, and as you look back on your experience here at Westminster, they will grow in importance to you. And I would also say take an opportunity this evening and in the days ahead to say thank you to your faculty. It's an extraordinary group of teachers who love you dearly and who are going to miss you as well. The class of 2015 is figured prominently in my first year at Westminster. Before I was even here officially, I met a group of student government leaders for lunch in the dining room down the steps to my right. You all were well represented in that room and confirmed what I thought was a good decision already. Coming to Westminster was going to be fun. You all have been gracious and welcoming to me, and I put you at the top of a long list of highlights from this year. I'm thankful to the class that 2015 was my first graduating class. And you should know that to keep faith with you, and because Matthew Ramsey left an impression on me by tackling me there, I have not stepped on the school seal all year. You all did it the old school way. You put your mark on the traditions here that have been around forever. You didn't cut corners, and you took care of each other. And to me, there is clearly something of the essence of this school that is in this class, in your intensity, in your intelligence, and in your humanity. And it showed up in the really big epic moments of the year. Schubert's Mass at Easter, football win over Levitt last fall, building a house for Habitat, all demanding, all receiving outstanding senior leadership. And then it showed up in quieter moments. A routine rehearsal, a tour given for the admission office, a conversation with our trustees. Nothing got half of an effort or less than your full engagement. And at the same time, Westminster was pitching something new to you year by year as you went through high school. A new schedule, a new jam term, a new library, and a new president. You took the opportunity to shape each one and to set a standard. But these visible accomplishments were undergirded, and indeed they were animated by something more. When just recently I asked a member of the class of 2015 what made the class special, he replied, "Because we all love each other." And that's a pretty awesome answer. and one that made me think, of course, these seniors are special not because of all the incredible achievements that we're about to go through this evening, but a special class because you love one another, and that affection is going to be more valuable to you over the days and years ahead than the record of any accomplishments that you've made here. You all need no other graduation advice. You have figured it out. Just keep doing it. And so tonight we look back on all that you've accomplished here and who you have been in this place, but only for a view to what is to come. We sense crossing tides of something ending and something beginning, and we reach for words to describe it. And for that, I offer something familiar to many of you. Tennyson's Ulysses, a piece of poetry where Tennyson conjures Ulysses at the end of his conquering, at the end of his accomplishments, what might seem like the end of his achievements, but yearning for his next journey, for his new adventure. He knows he is not cut out to simply remember times past, and so he calls out to his friends and he says, "Some work of noble note may yet be done, not unbecoming men that strove with gods." And then almost in a whisper, you can hear him say, "The lights begin to twinkle from the rocks, the long day wanes, the slow moon climbs, the deep moans round with many voices. Come, my friends, 'tis not too late to seek a newer world." And with this newer world ahead of him, and with conquest and accomplishment behind, Ulysses appeals to their very being. That which we are, one equal temper of heroic hearts. That which we are, possessors of heroic hearts. Ulysses finally fully unveils his true and unchanging character, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. To strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Seniors, tonight we will see evidence of Tennyson's great line in all of the accomplishments we will honor. To strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Remember, Ulysses, who knew that work of noble note was yet to be done, is what you, seniors, friends, soon-to-be Westminster graduates, have prepared for, and what we look forward to seeing in your future. A special class whose noble work was, is, and will be to love one another. Class of 2015, if you would please stand and let us recognize all of you. Presenting our valedictorians of the class of 2015, and would ask them to stand. Mary Beth Crozier, John Shen, and Elizabeth Ferguson, our valedictorians. And likewise, our salutatorians, Hannah Gay and Benjamin Greenberg. And now I'd like to call Mary Boyd to the podium, valedictorian of the class of 2015. Mary Boyd? I'm sorry, I got carried away. I was excited about those valedictorians. We actually have a scripture reading next.
A reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 4 through 20. There are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are differences of ministries, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of activities, but it is the same God who works all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each one for the profit of all. For to one is given the word of wisdom through the Spirit, to another the word of knowledge through the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another different kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. But one and the same Spirit works all these things, distributing to each one individually as he wills. For as the body is one and has many members, but all the members of that body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ. For by one Spirit we are all baptized into one body, whether Jews or Greeks, whether slaves or free, and have all been made to drink into one Spirit. For in fact, the body is not one member, but many. One should say, because I am not a hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where would be the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where would be the smelling? But now God has set the members, each one of them, in the body just as he pleased. And if they were all one member, where would the body be? But now indeed there are many members, yet one body. Word of the Lord.
Hi, I'm Caroline Darty, and I'll be reading the prayer that Christina Lopez prepared, but she's on her way back from helping the girls win that state championship. Please bow your heads. Holy God, your infinite goodness allows us to gather here today to rejoice in the accomplishments of the Westminster senior class of 2015. We praise you for your role in our lives, your unfailing grace, and your unconditional support in all that we do. We ask for your many blessings upon all of us being honored for our achievements. Thank you for giving us our talents and abilities, and we pray that we use them to give glory to you. Lord, we thank you for our time here at Westminster, for all the friends we have made to trust in and lean on, in the instances of laughter and fun, all the moments of discovery and learning, and more. Thank you for giving us the focus to complete senior year. Lord, as we stride towards graduation and the completion of our last year of high school, we are thankful for the perseverance you have given us to help us to this point. Thank you for helping us to trust in your plan, even though we often cannot see the outcome. Jeremiah 29:11 assures us of this perfect plan. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper and not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. We ask you to help us faithfully follow the path that you have set out before us, a life devoted to you in love, service, and gratitude. Amen.
Now it's actually my turn. 7 years ago, in the fall of my 6th grade year, I made the decision that I was going to join the cross-country team. Excited about my new choice to become a runner, I informed my parents and my best friend Nicole of my decision. My parents expressed skepticism, to say the least, but Nicole just looked at me, burst out laughing, and asked, "You?" Looking back, I don't blame her. After all, I was the kid who spent most of elementary recess sitting inside doing crafts, while Hunter Bremer chased literally every other girl around the playground. And Elizabeth, Isler, and Digo were getting hitched over by the swings. Now, that same girl who spent hours on Miss Plunkett's math games wanted to join a sport, for the fun of it. There were plenty of reasons for doubt, yet I went through with it anyway. During the first time trial of the season, I ran my 2 miles in 22 minutes and thought I was going to die right then and there. If anyone wants help on that math, those are 2 11-minute miles, which is faster than walking pace, but not by much. 2 years later, believe it or not, I trained for my first half marathon. And now, as I reflect on 7 amazing cross-country seasons, I view the team as my family, and my favorite aspect of my entire Westminster experience. Sure, joining the cross-country team isn't a particularly unique move here at Westminster, nor does it make me a jock by any standard, but it was something that even I wasn't sure I could do. And yet, thousands of miles later, I can proudly call myself a runner. I would wager that each and every person in this room has a similar story of a time when they too experienced the thrill of defying expectations. No one looks at Dorothy Spradlin and thinks, oh, that girl must be a hip-hop dancer. But then she breaks out the body rolls on stage with Cloud 9. Bo 3D printed a bust of Arson's head, and Arson has a head legendary enough to be worthy of a bust. Lawson competes in national archery competitions, Collins works as a blacksmith of all things, and Scott, or Scotty Kim as some know him, knows enough magic tricks to have a show in Vegas. These are only a few examples of the awe-inspiring talents contained within the class of 2015. But what inspires me even more is to know that our legacy leaving Westminster is hardly even the beginning of what we will accomplish. In 2 days, when we leave these beautiful buildings and immaculately spray-painted pine straw behind, we will be presented with a multitude of opportunities to set ourselves apart. In order to do that, though, we first need to put aside our preconceptions and test the limits of what we're capable of achieving. For me, the perfect example of this mindset comes from a book I read here at Westminster. It's called Frindle by Andrew Clements, and I think I read it in 3rd grade. The story hinges on a boy named Nick Allen, who, like our very own Nick Wilson, has a passion for English. Nick decides to invent a new word, frindle, to replace the word pen, much to the dismay of his strict and traditional English teacher. Through determination, enthusiasm, and leadership, Nick sparks a movement that begins in his school, but spreads across the country, and causes the word frindle to become a part of the English dictionary forever. At the very end, his English teacher admits that she was secretly rooting for Nick and his word the whole time. She tells him, "I see now that this is the kind of chance that a teacher hopes for and dreams about. A chance to see bright young students take an idea they've learned in the boring old classroom and put it to a real test in their own world." The story of Nick and his word, frindle, derives much of its power from its simplicity. Nick decides to invent a new word, and he does, regardless of what his English teacher or his parents say. It's that easy. Now that I'm no longer in 3rd grade, I can recognize that change is not so simple. Change can be messy, difficult, and frustrating, but it's also often necessary. However, change can only become reality if we are willing to take action. And for that reason, I reread Frindle a few times a year as a reminder. A reminder that what we learn in school can be powerful if we use it wisely. A reminder that we are only limited by what we believe we can accomplish. And a reminder that the greatest danger to our talents lies in the fear of failure that keeps us from using them, rather than the actual obstacles we must overcome. So tonight, with graduation imminent and the future ahead of us, I want to challenge each of you to look around, to be on the lookout for ways that we can follow Nick Allen's example by taking skills we've learned at Westminster, whether in the boring old classroom, on the athletic field, or in a club, and put them into action to create change. Maybe Mary Craig's selflessness will lead her to end world hunger. Maybe Abhinav will apply his statistical genius to help the Hawks dominate the NBA. And maybe Ben Ladner will be the sports broadcaster who covers that victory on live TV. So yes, I'm excited for graduation, but I'm even more excited for our reunions, when I'll get to see the ways that each of you have gone beyond what anyone could have expected or even dreamed of. I will never forget these 13 years, and I'm so grateful to each of you for the love, support, and enthusiasm that have made them amazing ones. Thank you, and go Cats.
For me, Westminster has always been a long list of surprises. I encountered surprise number 1 on the first day of school here, when I left my house 15 minutes early, yet arrived 15 minutes late. Used to going to school 5 minutes away, I now had to traverse 3 highways, each with its own rush hour. Sometimes there's an accident, other times there's 4. Sometimes a plane crashes onto I-285. I've been prepared to play soccer for the next 4 years at Westminster, but the hour-long commutes convinced me that I just wasn't ready to spend the rest of my life on a highway. Fortunately, that prompted me to discover surprise number 2, as I found the debate program. I had no idea what debate was at the time. All I knew was that its schedule was less rigid than that of soccer, and that was enough for me to give it a shot. 4 years later, and it's pretty clear that I never really quit. Debate has become a home for me, and I can say that in my 4 years at Westminster, it's been one of the most positive experiences. After these 2 initial surprises, I honestly lost count. Each day brought along new amazing discoveries, and through these discoveries, I found what makes Westminster truly unique. Turns out that it's not the difficulty of our courses, or the fancy physics equipment, or even our cafeteria's extensive knowledge of chicken and rice. What really distinguishes us is the faculty. Our teachers truly want to share their enthusiasm, whether it's Mr. Finsway and Thoreau's Transcendentalism, or Mr. Vukovic and the art of seal clubbing. Our experiences stay with us, even if the information doesn't. Shocking as it may seem to Mr. Drake, we may at one point forget that the Black Death peaked in the 14th century. But, fear not, we will always remember that it was a great boom in business for Dave the Ditch Digger. Our teachers are the foundation of this institution, and we should thank them all for their guidance and their patience as we went through this mess we call high school. We really have survived it all, from plugging pickles into wall sockets to comprehending at least the first chapter of Full of It. So, what do we do now? Well, there's a Chinese proverb, 天外有天，人外有人. And it tries to convey the idea that no matter how good you think you are, there is always someone out there who's better. Westminster likes to characterize itself as a school where A-type students come to find success in all facets of life through hard work and dedication. But we all know that's a bit of a generalization. You only need to take a look at the class of 2015 to find that we can always learn something from our peers. Where would we be without Io to demonstrate the value of vigorous public debate? Or Cesar to show us just how to be a nicer person? How about Evan, who inspires us all to have more confidence on stage? Or Lenore, to remind us that even parking is an acquired skill. We are blessed to have a tremendous pool of talent around us, along with a faculty that tries its hardest to provide new opportunities every year. For example, this year was the first to include Jan term, and I had the chance to go to LA to meet with composers in a course titled Music and the Movies. Through this course, I found an unfamiliar field and an amazing experience, even if it was slightly oversaturated with freshman boys. It is easy to see why Westminster students are often portrayed as overworked and overscheduled, with so many privileges and opportunities inside and outside the classroom. However, with these privileges at our fingertips, we must hold ourselves to higher standards, even when it seems we have already gone above and beyond. We have yet to conquer our most difficult obstacles and collect our most important victories. We should be proud of what we have achieved, but the world does not wait for us to catch our breath. The lasting impact of a Westminster education lies not in the knowledge that we have produced, but in the path we have taken to produce it. We can spend eternity in preparation, but in the end, we're only judged by our reactions to these unanticipated challenges. Mr. Dingle's acid-base tests might have been terrifying, for a moment that is, until we were forced to have a directed conversation with a computer, in Spanish, casually throwing in cultural references. At Westminster, we've been pushed beyond our comfort zones, dropped into places of uncertainty. And for that, we've become more innovative, more flexible thinkers. In case you haven't heard by now, this is a time of change. Transition has undoubtedly become the word of the month as we approach graduation. We are told that this is a time for a do-over, a chance to remake ourselves in favor of a new identity. Possible or not, I'll say this. It is easy to become so distracted with what is changing around us that we fail to recognize what has remained constant throughout the years. The last 4 years have been a time of constant clarification of who we are as individuals and as a community. Our collective character has changed and will continue to do so in the years to come. But, as our favorite character, Holden Caulfield, said in the museum, certain things should stay the way they are. I hope to say that we can retain the eagerness to find new challenges, the tenacity to overcome them, and the leadership to bring others along with us. I hope that we will preserve the commitment to this community that has helped us through these 4 years. As we ride through our victory tour, let's not forget that we didn't do it alone. To the class of 2015, I hope that when we meet again in 20, 30, 40 years, I will still recognize the part of you that's here today, the part we share even as our paths diverge. Thank you.
You don't need me to tell you that junior year at Westminster is notoriously the hardest. You are forced to balance AP classes, athletics, and a social life, all while somehow sleeping for the magical 8 hours every night. Not gonna lie, but sometimes my only motivation to get out of the bed junior year would be to watch episodes of my favorite TV shows like Criminal Minds and The Bachelor while I ate breakfast. One-word descriptions of 11th grade might include exhaustion, death, and God forbid, hell. However, when I think of junior year, only one word comes to mind: Inglystery. Now, I'm not saying that I particularly supported the concept of Inglystery, which, if you're unfamiliar with the term, was a combination of Mr. Drake's AP European History with Mr. Wells's AP English. But I do believe that some of what I learned and experienced during Inglystery captures my Westminster experience as a whole. On the first day of Inglystery, Mr. Drake wrote his phone number on the whiteboard. He offered that if we had any questions regarding an upcoming test, we were allowed to call him in the evening after school. And even though he mentioned that, shockingly, only a few students have ever actually called him in the past, I knew that right then and there I was destined to become one of those few. Fast forward to a few days before the second history test of the year. It was around 8:30 and Susie had just given me a pep talk on the phone for at least half an hour. Towards the end, she added that while she would never call Mr. Drake herself, she would greatly appreciate it if I got all of her questions answered. As I dialed Mr. Drake's number, my heart was beating faster than Joy Moran's as she watched Libby Thompson dance with her bae, Luke Jones, at the Valentine's dance. But after this night, my phone calls with Mr. Drake became a ritual. Before I could even utter hello the next time I called, Mr. Drake already knew it was me, sighing and stating, "Hello again, Elizabeth," for he realized that a 30-minute conversation lay ahead. It is teachers like Mr. Drake, or should I say Dave the Ditch Digger, who have made my experience at Westminster so unforgettable. Not only do these teachers care about my academic success, but they want to guarantee my overall well-being, and will go to great measures to ensure both. But in addition to the teachers, the extent to which I was constantly challenged in Inglystery, attempting to juggle DBQs, English essays, and somehow making profound connections between the two, truly embodies the essence of my academic journey at Westminster. For me, this challenge began freshman year with Mr. Justice. Coming out of 8th grade, I thought I was a pretty good writer, but little did I know my world was about to be turned upside down. Maybe just as much as Danielle Brothers was when Evan Katz serenaded her in the 8th grade talent show. But as the due date for my first essay in Jim Juice class approached, I had many questions, which I am sure comes to no surprise. I scheduled to meet with Mr. Justice in office hours, yet as soon as I presented my uncertainties, he smirked and much too enthusiastically replied, I'm gonna let you struggle with that. While I certainly did not appreciate this response at the time, I am now grateful for the opportunity to have grown individually as a student. The manner in which Mr. Justice pushed me beyond what I perceived were my academic limits helped foster a sense of self-discipline and self-confidence in my work that has greatly served me for the remainder of my high school career. Yet even more, Englistery opened my eyes to the remarkable passions and accomplishments of my classmates. A constant amazement that I feel toward each and every single one of you, even you, Gavin. Before Englistery, I had always known that Canon Cecil had a knack for history, but it was not until being locked in a classroom with him for 3-hour periods that I realized that Canon was actually a history textbook himself. But nothing reveals Canon's mastery of history more than the World War I project. One day in class, Mr. Drake advised Alston to check out a certain book from the library for her research. As if on cue, Cannon began to pull this exact same book from his backpack, explaining that he had read it for pleasure. In this moment, I realized that while I will never share Cannon's love of history, I could not be more impressed at the extent to which he fulfills this passion. But my opportunity to learn from each of y'all's achievements extends far beyond Englistery. For instance, I am ceaselessly amazed by Graham Huff's performance on the cross-country trails, by Cole Haverty's ability to unintentionally steal the heart of my sister, by Gracie Collier's detailed artwork in her Running Through History journal, by Ben Ladner's ability to make everyone laugh in group homeroom with lines like, I can't hear you, I have carrots in my ears, and by Robert DeGolian's, or should I say the Friendly Dentist's, profound knowledge of the clock tower from page 7 of All the King's Men, which coincidentally might have been the only page that Robert actually read. Yet as a member of such an enriching environment, it is impossible for me to not recognize the extent to which this community has allowed me to grow as an individual. Not only have I learned that Miss Merchant can talk smack better than anyone I know, that Hannah Atkins has a frightening obsession with Coach Romberg, that Sam Lawton will one day appear on Broadway, that Wes Collins has a severe addiction to the B verbs, and that on RGH you should never leave early from the National Gallery. But I have also learned how to best get in touch with my true alter ego, Eford 20. Over the past year, I have ventured far beyond my comfort zone, like dancing to Wrecking Ball with my sister at the homecoming dance, playing the desk prank on Mr. Level with my physics class, and auditioning for the talent show to the Mean Girls version of Jingle Bell Rock with Anne-Marie, Mary Craig, and Dorothy, where, after we thanked student government for watching the tryout, Henry Harris laughed and replied, no, thank you. But had it not been for the support and encouragement that I received from our grade, which I feel confident will continue far beyond these halls, I can assure you that I would not be the person standing before you today. In your own way, you have each allowed me to grow in character, as an individual, and in my relationships with others, and for this, I will forever be grateful. As a favorite camp song of mine states, this is good night and not goodbye. The adventures that we have experienced together have been truly remarkable. You might even go as far as to say that lightning has struck the heart of this beloved community. However, now a new horizon lay ahead, and I will be the first to admit that I am beyond scared to tackle this unknown. But remember, to be successful, according to one Jan term speaker we had this year, you only need to do one thing: befriend the nerds. With this, I wholeheartedly wish each of you the absolute best, and I hope that we will meet again one day soon. Go Cats!
Thank you each of our valedictorian speakers. And now I'd like to present the valedictorian awards to each of the valedictorians in turn. First, to Mary Boyd Crozier. John Shen. And to Elizabeth Ferguson. To our salutatorians, Hannah Gay. And Benjamin Greenberg. Now we're going to move on to our Forensics Award, starting with Ms. Sternberg.
The Senior Forensics Award goes to a student who led the debate team with the greatest contributions to the research efforts and an excellent competitive record. This senior is actually the best high school debater in the country this year. Individually, he won 7 top 3 speaker awards at major national tournaments, including top speaker at the national championship and at Harvard. Together with his partner, he won the national championship, the St. Mark's Heart of Texas, and #1 in the national coaches poll, and reached the finals of 3 other majors and the final 4 of 2 others. He also has a gift for simplifying complicated ideas when teaching younger teammates. Please join me in congratulating Saul Foreman.
The Wind Ensemble Leadership Award is presented each year to the senior demonstrating the finest in selfless leadership and the best in quality musicianship. This year's recipient has been in Wind Ensemble all 4 years, performing on bassoon, saxophone, and percussion. He has been a strong leader musically and spiritually. He has been selected by audition for the District Honor Bands 3 years and the Georgia Music Educators All-State Band. He has been one of our 2 band presidents and has been a strong and assertive leader during his term. This year's Wind Ensemble Leadership Award goes to Gavin Reynolds.
The Frank Boggs Vocal Achievement Award is given each year to a senior whose performances in choral and solo repertoire have been exceptional, whose dedication to the choral program has been noteworthy, and whose long-term goals include the possibility of a career in professional music. The award, which is named for Westminster's revered choral director Frank Boggs, is given this year to a singer whose voice has delighted audiences in many performances and in a variety of styles. Her voice is pure and elegant, her composure distinguished and refined. She has been magnificent in her commitment to the choral program, the women's a cappella, and the ensemble. Congratulations, Mary Catherine Henry.
As the president of the Westminster Players, the female recipient of the 2015 Theater Arts Award has shown exemplary leadership skills, often with loud and almost militant reign over unruly underclassmen. She approaches every role with the same intense passion and care. She has played everything from a pajama factory worker to a British knight of Spamalot, and she will always be our dearest Ophelia. Erin Lamberth. I have one more, sorry. The second 2015 Theater Arts Award is given to a young man who is an exemplary mentor for young artists, and he is a creative and brilliant collaborator. His stage work in upper school productions actually began 8 years ago in 2007 when he appeared in Ragtime as an elementary student. And he could only peak with what is known as the theater's ultimate test, playing the role of Hamlet. Congratulations, Sam Lott.
The Norma Allen Gableline Orchestra Award is presented to the Chamber Orchestra senior who best exemplifies the pursuit of excellence in orchestral studies and performance. The recipient of this award has been a member of the Chamber Orchestra for 4 years and has served as the orchestra's concertmaster this year. She has also played in the Georgia Music Educators Association Statewide Honors Orchestra and the Metropolitan Youth Symphony. In recognition of her leadership and persistence, we are pleased to present the Norma Allen Gableline Orchestra Award to Annabelle Shue.
Good evening. The Senior Art Award is presented to 3 students who dream of possible worlds and realize their vision in a way that encourages the rest of us to dream. The first recipient is on his own walkabout. He wanders back and forth, waving his hands, for this is how he thinks. All the while he spins his artistic wool, part art history, part street art, and then weaves his own inventive ideas to create a personal vision. This student has spent 3 years working tirelessly to make his mark on the art world. Keep your eyes open for this rising star. The second recipient started off like a glimmer in the constellations, a twinkle not even being able to see by the naked eye. Through several years of hard work, she made her artistic self known as a valued contributor in the art studio. Gradually, there was a confidence and strength that started to appear, not only in her acute awareness of her craft, but as a leader in the art studio.
The third recipient is involved in just about every creative endeavor available to a student at Westminster. She is just as skilled with the written word as she is with a brush and brings an incisive wit and analytical mind to all of her pursuits. She playfully claims she may expire if I suggest she add one more stroke to a painting or one more line to a magazine, yet when a job really needs doing, she has gracefully carried the weight of her peers. It is with great pleasure that I present these Senior Art Awards to Songjin Lee, Libby Thompson, and Rose Sheehan.
It's a great day to be a Wildcat. I know that the entire team hasn't come in, but I know there's at least one representative because I saw Goalie walk in a few minutes ago. Goalie, can you stand up and see the medal? Most outstanding senior female athlete. Our most outstanding senior female athlete for the graduating class of 2015 was awarded 12 varsity letters, with 4 each in softball, basketball, and lacrosse. One of her best qualities is she accepts responsibility for her actions. She was selected all-region in softball, basketball, and selected all-state in lacrosse. The teams on which she has played qualified for the state playoffs in 10 of her 12 seasons and won 2 state championships. Her lacrosse team won one of the most thrilling games of all time yesterday afternoon against BT. She'll play lacrosse next year at Washington and Lee. It's a pleasure to introduce the most outstanding senior female athlete for 2015, Andy Carandi. Most outstanding senior male athlete. Our most outstanding senior male athlete for the graduating class of 2015 was awarded 9 varsity letters, with 3 each in football, wrestling, and lacrosse. As a senior, he was team captain in all 3 sports. He was always intense and focused in everything that he undertook. He was instrumental in leading his teams to the state playoffs each year that he played. He was selected all-state in football, ranked 7th in the career wins for a Wildcat wrestler with 130, and received both All-State and All-American honors in lacrosse. He will play lacrosse at Notre Dame next year and in the state championship game this Saturday at 3 o'clock. It is a pleasure to introduce the most outstanding senior male athlete for 2015, Charlie.
This young woman embodies the spirit of the Wildcat, enthusiastically spreading good cheer at athletic events, caring for even the littlest pre-firster, all the way to the players on the field, and does so with a positive attitude and genuine engagement in our community. She represents our school with grace and dignity, whether as a leader for the Student Diversity Leadership Council, through her work with Habitat for Humanity, or with her mentorships and tutoring. She also shows her genuine love of this school through her willingness to be our Wildcat. If you've ever seen the inside of that mask, you know this is an act of love. It is my pleasure to give the Dean's Award to Veronica Valencia.
The young man receiving this award has been described by one of his teachers as someone who approaches everything with the mindset of a wrestler. He's focused, tenacious, and does not quit. He gives whatever he's doing, writing a poem, talking to a friend, reading a difficult book, 100% of his attention. For these and many other reasons, I am pleased to announce that this year's male recipient of the Dean's Award is Joseph Perry.
A true Renaissance woman who can seemingly do everything well, this young woman is an outstanding, dedicated, and intuitive student. She is eager to help others in micro and macro ways on the volleyball court, in the classroom, and in the greater community. She is a selfless, accomplished leader in virtually every area where she's chosen to make a commitment, including prominent leadership at school as senior class president and in the community as vice president of Girlfriends, a high school volunteer organization serving children's health care of Atlanta. Most people at Westminster know this young man as one of the most gifted student athletes in the class. However, they also know him as a compassionate young man, dedicated to helping others wherever he can, locally and even globally. He is a key leader in our Discovery program as well as on our Discipline Council. He contributes in many areas to the welfare of Westminster, the surrounding community, and the world. He also has some hidden talents, although not so hidden because they've already been mentioned this evening, as he's been a quick study at blacksmithing. With gratitude and admiration for their leadership and many contributions, I am delighted to honor Mackenzie, Shannon, and Collins Speed.
Service to School Award. This year's recipient of the Service to School Award embraces life with an unparalleled enthusiasm and smile that immediately make all around him feel comfortable. His depth of understanding of social and cultural differences and his willingness to seek challenge intellectually and personally distinguish him. As one of his junior instructors notes, a number of other students would not have been as successful without his presence in the class. He is caring, sensitive, funny, and grounded at the same time. Well known for his passion for computers, being a DJ, dancing with Cloud9, teaching hip-hop at the Boys and Girls Club, and serving on both the Student Diversity Leadership Council and Service Council, he makes our community richer and better. With appreciation and pride, we present the Service to School Award to Remy Matthews.
The President's Volunteer Service Award is presented by the President's Council on Service and Civic Engagement through the Points of Light Foundation to recognize those students who have devoted 100 hours or more to volunteering in their communities and whose volunteer time has been tracked and certified by the Points of Light Foundation. President Obama says in his letter to each recipient, "I congratulate you for answering the call to serve and of demonstrating outstanding character and citizenship. You are helping to build a culture of service and responsibility in America that will last for decades. Your acts of kindness and decency are truly changing America, one heart and one soul at a time." We are honored today to recognize 11 seniors of this class. As I call your name, I ask you to come forward to receive your certificate and letter from President Obama, and ask the others of you to hold your applause to all 11 names have been called. Carolina Adams, Kennedy Copeland, Mary Boyd Crozier, Joseph Davis, Avanti Joshi, Arsene Lakpa, Mary Craig Lingram, Remy Matthews, Lawson Meadows, Elizabeth Pavor, and Alexander Silliman. Congratulations. Service Above Self Award is presented to a senior boy or girl who enthusiastically serves the community, demonstrating good citizenship, leadership, and a genuine concern for others. It recognizes outstanding volunteerism of one who is truly making a difference in the world by giving of his or her time and talents. This year's recipient is a young man who is the epitome of the Albert Schweitzer quote, "Seek always to do some good somewhere. You must give some time to your fellow man, for remember, you don't live in a world all your own." For his integrity, humility, compassion, and giving spirit, we are honored to recognize Arsène Blackman. And finally, the Community Service Award recognizes a member of the senior class who has reached out to help others by volunteering in the community and serving as a role model of how to make a difference in society. Mother Teresa could have been talking about this young lady when she said, "At the end of life, we will not be judged by how many diplomas we have received, how much money we have made, or how many great things we have done. We will be judged by I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was naked and you clothed me. I was homeless and you took me in." The tragedy of Hurricane Katrina was a true blessing for the Westminster community, as it brought a young lady who continually models a true servant's heart. It's an honor that we recognize Elizabeth Boyd.
During her 40 years of service to Westminster, Gwen Cleggard was an English teacher, English department chair, 12th grade girls chair, girls college counselor, and associate principal. She was named star teacher more times than any other teacher to date. Her record of service to our school can only be described as exemplary, earning her a legendary reputation among 3 generations of alumni and hundreds of colleagues. Gwen's imprint on Westminster continues to this day. The recipient of this year's award is always writing, and when she's not writing, she's thinking or talking about it. And with a sophistication that belies her tender age, for her, writing is more than a hobby or extracurricular activity. It is a calling that brings out the best in her and those fortunate enough to be in her audience. The English department honors Erica Schumacher. David Lauderdale was a teacher, college counselor, and coach, an authentic Renaissance man. He had a passion for scholarship and literature, especially Shakespeare, and for athletics and the wisdom to take neither too seriously. He expected the boys to know how to think and laugh and listen. Most of all, he had a wicked sense of irony that helped us to laugh at the curveballs that life would throw our way. We are honored to have David's daughter, Jane Lauderdale Armstrong, here with us tonight. The recipient of this award is a young man who has thrived in his study of literature, composition, and the humanities. One of his English teachers writes that when the recipient is writing and thinking at his best, he helps us to see the crepuscular place between man and God.
The English department honors Eric Odermatt.
The young lady we recognize tonight with the Brown Award possesses the social skills we could only dream of having. She has grown by leaps and bounds, each year honing in on her interest more deeply, whether it's her fascination with the Spanish language or her true love of art. Travel and community service have expanded her worldview and increased her passion for cultural awareness. She danced with the Atlanta Ballet for more than 12 years, was part of the lacrosse program, plays the piano, and has been involved with Team Wings, a nonprofit organization through St. Joseph's Hospital. In addition, she volunteers her time with younger students as a Bible study and wildlife leader. The young lady we honor will graduate with a better, well-developed seriousness of purpose in her academic pursuits and a continued desire to lead those around her. It is with great pleasure that we award the Branham for the greatest progress to Danielle Brothers. To a young man whose high school career has demonstrated qualities of intellectual achievement, high character, academic progress, and positive attitude. This year's recipient admits humorously that he needed to work harder in the 9th grade, but also saw his grades drop due to a serious illness that year. With strong determination and persistence, he moved from being a rather shy and unsure 9th grader to possessing what one of his junior teachers called diligence, a high level of interest, strong organization, outstanding participation, and exceptional study skills. Another junior instructor noted his ability to, quote, keep the atmosphere fun and collaborate without distracting from learning. Known for enjoying sports, magic tricks, playing the bass in orchestra, and giving freely of himself to many causes, he made his highest average ever as a senior while taking 4 AP courses. We are honored to present this year's Berry Senior Award to Scott Becker.
The Robert M. Sims Math and Science Award was established in 1993 in recognition of Bob Sims, who gave Westminster 36 years of dedicated service as an administrator, a chemistry teacher, a soccer coach of national distinction, and a friend to many of us. Each year in his honor, the math and science faculties honor 2 senior students who have distinguished themselves by both choice and performance in the most challenging mathematics and science courses, and to exemplify the qualities Bob Sims admired and respected. This year, the Math and Science faculty present the Robert M. Sims Math Science Award to Caroline Doherty and John Shin.
Mr. William Pippin was a terrific patron of the Carlisle Fraser Library, as well as the Westminster History Department. Several years ago, he decided to fund a prize for the best student research essay on a topic dealing with American involvement in the Second World War. This contest is open to juniors and seniors, and the paper should be 10 to 12 pages in length. All entries were judged by a panel of historians in high school. This year, the winning essay is entitled Counterbalancing the Rising Sun, How America Saved Europe by Sanctioning Japan. We are honored to present this year's William Pippin Jr. History Award to Sam Sykes. The George History Award honors Dr. George Lamplugh in his 37 years of superb service to Westminster and the History Department. It is presented to the outstanding senior student in advanced placement in American history. For his appreciation of the history of the Republic and his skill in recounting the story of its past, we honor Honor Hutchins. The recipients of the Goizueta Foundation Award are not only outstanding language students, but they have also reached beyond the classroom to broaden their individual perspectives and make their own contributions to international understanding. Through initiative and leadership, they have demonstrated that knowledge of other cultures provides a valuable reference point for appreciating and expanding one's own life, while finding meaning and purpose in the larger world. In recognition of their achievements and in appreciation of their promise, we honor the following students. In Chinese, William Hudson. French, Caroline Heller. Spanish, Greg Woodham. Congratulations to you.
A graduate of the North Avenue Presbyterian School, Mrs. Leila Mason Venable Eldridge made provision in her will for special awards bearing her name to go to the senior boy and girl who have shown the highest quality of scholarship in the humanities. The female recipient of this award has demonstrated the highest character and calm, rational thinking. She is an exceptional writer who has achieved excellence, not merely through innate talent, but through persistence and resilience. The male recipient of the award is a profound theological thinker, full of insights and questions. He has an insatiable curiosity for knowledge on a wide variety of fronts. He is well on his way to becoming a young man who will vault to great heights. It is our pleasure to honor Amanda Schaefer and William Stewart.
The Vernon S. Broyles Jr. Christian Leadership Award is in memory of Dr. Vernon Broyles, one of the founding fathers of Westminster. As senior minister of North Avenue Presbyterian Church, Dr. Broyles was instrumental in the establishment of Westminster. Through his dedication, wisdom, and leadership, Westminster became a reality. He was a guiding and supportive influence in the transition from the old to the new, as he laid the groundwork for the establishment of Westminster as it is today. He served as chairman of the Board of Trustees from the inception of Westminster until his retirement in 1970. Dr. Broyles is best remembered in 4 areas. He was a man of commitment and faithfulness. He understood the relationship of faith and justice in the world. He was unswerving in his conviction that the Christian component is essential to education. One sees this in his stated purpose of Westminster, to honor Jesus Christ and to provide the best possible education for young people. Finally, Dr. Broyles had an openness and receptivity to individuals of varied backgrounds and faiths. We trust that the recipients of this award will emulate Dr. Broyles. It's difficult to adequately describe the students who are receiving the Vernon S. Broyles Jr. Christian Leadership Award tonight because of their many and numerous various contributions to the Christian faith of so many. They have spoken to and led numerous groups. They have always been active and supportive in all phases of the Christian community of Westminster. Student or faculty could call on them collectively or individually, and they were always available and willing to be of assistance. Yet their most significant and lasting contribution to Westminster has been the example of living out the Christian faith. They have taken a stand, as Philippians 1:21 directs. They have truly lived out Romans 12:1-2, as they challenged, inspired, and motivated so many toward a fuller Christian life by their examples of dedication, friendship, leadership, insights, and lifestyle. They will be missed. It is with great pleasure that I present the Vernon S. Broyles Jr. Christian Leadership Award to 2 individuals of Christian conviction and character, Mary Boyd Crozier and Matthew Ramsey.
Family, in memory of Mr. and Mrs. Edward S. Croft Jr. and Ms. Sarah Crosswell Croft, present a Service and Fellowship Award to a graduating senior girl and boy who best exemplified the ideals of personal integrity, strength of character, selfless service, positive and upbeat attitude, zest for life and learning, and true fellowship with their classmates and other members of the school community. We're delighted to have members of the Croft family with us tonight. The recipients are chosen from a list of candidates nominated by you, the seniors. This year, we're pleased to honor Jory Moran and Malin Linder.
The former principal of the North Avenue Presbyterian School, Thurza S. Askew, was a model of nobility, service, leadership, and devotion to ideals, dignity, and courage. The recipient this year epitomizes the characteristics of this award beautifully. An excellent student, she never settles for anything less than her best. Gentle, caring, sensitive, enthusiastic, and incredibly humble. She is one who always sees the possibilities in institutions and people. Whether it is her 350 plus hours of service
through the National Charity League, her life-changing trips to Africa, where a chaperone says she was, quote, the most impacted by the experience of interacting with another culture, or her organization of a 24-hour relay that netted significant funds to purchase school uniforms for needy students. This young woman simply has a love of serving people. It is with great pleasure that we present this award to Mary Craig Lincoln.
The Judith A. Smith Citizenship Award recognizes a young woman whose presence has enriched Westminster in a myriad of ways. We are honored to have Ms. Smith with us this evening. This year, we recognize a young woman who is an upstanding, contributing citizen of Westminster and the world. Her teachers have raved about her humor, warmth, energy, maturity, and leadership. At Westminster, she is a discovery leader and an active member of the Student Diversity Leadership Council. In the community, she is a supporter of a better chance and a volunteer through Threads at All Saints Episcopal Church. She has hosted visiting students from Argentina and China, in turn visiting these countries and others as Westminster's ambassador of goodwill. She hopes to put her fluency in Mandarin and Spanish to good use as a doctor in the future. With pride and appreciation, we honor Maya Young.
This award encompasses honor, service, courage, and leadership, all characteristics epitomized by James G. Patton, teacher, coach, and dean of students at Westminster for 38 years. Everything he attempts, and this includes, but not limited to, WCAT, MAC, Discovery, and Space Hub Southeast, is done at a level matched by few students. He consistently demonstrates a maturity of thought that is rare in high school students. He is genuine, sincere, kind, and thoughtful. Never one to put himself above others. He makes the effort to get to know and to encourage those around him. I am pleased to announce that this year's recipient of the James G. Patton Citizenship Award is Nathaniel Gibson.
Established by the class of 1999 as a symbol of their exceptional spirit and voted on every year by the members of the senior class, this award honors two students who have celebrated their peers in all their endeavors, providing extraordinary support and encouragement to them. By vote of the class of 2015, the recipients of the Spirit Award are Hannah Atkins and Taylor Willis.
First, we would like to thank everyone in the class of 2015 who participated in the Senior Giving Initiative.
73% of our class has made the 5-year pledge to the Westminster Fund, helping our class set a record for senior class participation. Our support carries forward the tradition of alumni generosity that has made an enormous impact on our Westminster experiences.
We also have some exciting news to share about the class of 2015's senior class gift. We've decided to donate the remaining funds from our senior account to the school. This one-time gift of more than $7,000 will be used next year to support student financial needs beyond tuition, helping ensure that all students have the same Westminster experience, regardless of financial circumstance. The senior class is excited to be able to support fellow Wildcats with this gift, which will help pay for things like extracurricular activities, transportation costs to get to and from school, and prom expenses.
The senior class would like to dedicate this gift to Mr. Peters, whose career at Westminster has so closely mirrored our own. As we move on to college, he moves on to Memphis. There is no class with whom he is more closely related, and we wanted to honor him for his contributions during his time at Westminster. Although he had a full-time job as principal, he made an effort to teach classes as well. I had the privilege to be part of one of those classes. Mr. Peters, it has been an honor to us to have you as our principal. Now we would like to honor you with this gift.
I have to pull myself back together after that. That was lovely, and thank you so much. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution Cup is awarded to a senior boy and girl who have demonstrated outstanding qualities of scholarship, leadership, and participation in school and community life. This young woman has the ability to champion and encourage others while being an excellent student. She dedicates much of her time to peer leadership and discovery, and as an integral member of the robotics team. Her commitment reaches far beyond the Westminster community. She regularly conducted Skype sessions with Mount Kenya Academy teachers so that they could create a robotics program of their own. This young man is passionate about many arenas, including science, music, theater, math, and technology. He has a rare record of straight, unweighted A's while taking 10 AP courses. But he is also an outstanding leader and active in many extracurricular activities, whether it is ensemble, men's a cappella group, theater, spectrum, honor council, tutoring, or computer building and consulting. He will be remembered for years to come for his incredibly personable demeanor and his many leading roles in multiple Westminster productions. We are honored to present this year's Atlanta Journal-Constitution Cup to Emily Chu and Sam Lawton.
The Frances Isabel Outler Memorial Award honors the senior girl who has contributed to all phases of school life. Named for a highly respected former English teacher and college counselor, the award is given to a student who has shown excellence in scholarship, service, responsibility, and character. This year's recipient is known for being thoughtful, selfless, free-spirited, and fun-loving, but also for her strong integrity, solid moral compass, grit, and drive. She is an avid reader who constantly strives for improvement and better understanding. She loves to manage sports and enjoys being on the Link staff, working with WCAT, baking for everyone, and being a Wildcat. A fine student, she has the rare distinction of serving her class as president for 2 years and is currently president of the student body. Called one of the school's most dynamic leaders by many, she humbly declares, "I am who I am because of those around me." With great pleasure, we present the Frances Isabel Outler Memorial Award to Ren Moodley. Richard Hull Memorial Trophy is presented to the senior boy who's contributed the most to all phases of school life. This year's recipient is known for his incredibly infectious enthusiasm for life, is highly involved in many arenas in and out of the school, and has been called a true scholar by his teachers. His genuine passion for learning, initiative in every academic endeavor, role as a catalyst for discussion in his classes, and uncommon maturity of intellect make him one who is highly respected by students and faculty alike. Whether he is running varsity track, playing multiple instruments in Westminster's jazz band and wind ensemble where he is president, serving as executive producer of WCAT's W Entertainment, demonstrating his prowess as a chef, or serving as the school's head honor prefect, he lives life to the fullest and makes a difference in all that he does. He is truly a modern Renaissance man and is simply outstanding in every way. It is with great pleasure that we present the Richard L. Hull Memorial Trophy to Gavin Reynolds. In prayer.
Please bow your heads for a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for granting us the opportunity to come together and celebrate the accomplishments of this year's senior class here at Westminster. It is through you and your Son Jesus that we can do all things. I pray continued blessings for our teachers, parents, and other mentors who've directed us on our paths. I pray that we remember to seek you first in all areas of our lives and listen to your voice. Lastly, I pray for a spirit of peace as we transition into the next stage of our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Now please join us for senior celebration down at the plaza in front of Turner Gymnasium. Thank you all very much.